Life is not a straight road paved with certainty. It is a winding path filled with opportunities, challenges, and most importantly, risks. From the moment we take our first steps, we're risking a fall. But if we never dared to walk, we'd never run. Life rewards the bold. It doesn't wait for the fearful to be ready. It favors the ones who leap even when their legs tremble. Every dream you carry, every goal you envision, stands on the other side of a risk. Staying in your comfort zone might feel safe, but it's also where dreams go to die. You want to build something great? You want to break the chains of average? You want to change your life? Take a risk. The most successful people aren't the ones who played it safe. They're the ones who bet on themselves when no one else would. They're the ones who stood at the edge of uncertainty and jumped, not because they were sure they'd succeed, but because they knew the pain of regret is greater than the pain of failure. Risks don't guarantee success, but they guarantee growth. Every failure teaches you, every attempt refines you, and every brave decision shapes you into someone stronger, wiser, and more powerful than before. So ask yourself today, not what could go wrong if you try, but what you might lose if you don't. Take the chance. Embrace the fear. Life is a risk. And the only thing worse than failing is never trying at all. From birth to death, life is filled with uncertainties. We're never promised safety or assurance in anything. Merely waking up and stepping outside is an act of courage. To live is to take risks. To live is to take risks. The sooner we accept this, the sooner we can start living fully. Staying in your comfort zone might protect you from failure, but it also protects you from growth. The most meaningful lessons, transformations, and breakthroughs come when we step into the unknown and challenge ourselves beyond the familiar. Fear often shows up when something is important. Instead of letting it paralyze you, use it as a compass. If it scares you, it probably means it matters. Risk is not the enemy. Fear of risk is. A comfortable life may feel peaceful, but it often becomes a silent graveyard for dreams. Greatness never came from staying safe. Every extraordinary life begins where comfort ends. To unlock your potential, you must be willing to get uncomfortable. You can live with a failed attempt. You can rise again after a mistake. But the regret of not trying at all, of never giving yourself a shot, haunts forever. Taking a risk might cost you something, but not taking it will cost you everything. Each time you take a risk, whether you succeed or not, you strengthen your mindset, you become more confident, more resilient, and more capable. Risk is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger you become. Look at any inspiring person you admire. Their story is likely filled with failed ventures, uncertain leaps, and uncomfortable beginnings. Behind every success is a person who dared to take risks others were afraid of. Taking a risk doesn't mean being impulsive. It means analyzing, preparing, and then having the courage to act. Smart risk-taking is strategic. It's about betting on yourself even when odds seem stacked against you, and still giving it everything you've got. Life begins with risk. From the very first breath we take, nothing is guaranteed. Each day we wake up, we step into a world of unpredictability. We don't know what challenges will come, what obstacles we might face, or how events will unfold. Yet we move forward not because we have all the answers, but because deep inside, we know that progress is impossible without motion. Choosing to love someone is a risk. Starting a new job is a risk. Speaking your truth, chasing your dreams, trying something new, all of it carries uncertainty. But that's exactly what makes life meaningful. Without risk, there would be no victories, no breakthroughs, no unforgettable moments that change us. The very fabric of life is stitched with chances, and every moment of hesitation we let pass by is a moment we lose forever. Even doing nothing is a risk, because it risks wasting time, potential, and opportunity. When you realize that safety is an illusion and certainty is rare, you begin to understand that life isn't about avoiding risk. It's about learning to walk boldly with it. Growth and risk are inseparable. You cannot evolve, improve, or rise to a new level without leaving something behind, and that something is usually comfort, familiarity, and perceived safety. Growth requires stretch. It demands that you reach beyond what you already know, beyond what you're already good at, and step into spaces where you're unsure, untested, and even afraid. That stretch, that step into the unknown, is the risk. Every skill you've ever learned, every breakthrough you've ever experienced, happened because at some point you were willing to try something you weren't yet good at. Whether it's learning to speak in front of people, starting a new business, moving to a new city, or changing your mindset, every form of personal, emotional, or professional development begins with the courage to risk failure and embarrassment. Safe choices might maintain who you are today, but only risky ones unlock who you can become. Playing small, staying where it's comfortable, and avoiding the unfamiliar might protect you from discomfort, but it also locks the door on growth. Real transformation happens when you risk failing, when you challenge your limits, and when you act before you're fully ready. Fear is often misunderstood. Most people see fear as a warning to stop, to retreat, to turn back to safety. But in truth, fear is not a stop sign, it's a signal. It tells you that you are standing on the edge of something important, something that has the power to stretch you, shape you, or change your life. Fear appears when you step outside your known limits, when you face uncertainty, or when the stakes are high. And that's not something to run from, it's something to lean into. If you're afraid to speak up, it probably means your voice matters. If you're afraid to take the next step, it likely means that step carries weight and potential. Fear is not a message to give up, it's an invitation to rise. It's your mind recognizing the possibility of failure, but also the possibility of success. Most breakthroughs are hidden behind fear because fear stands between you and the unknown. But once you realize that fear isn't your enemy, it becomes a compass. It guides you toward the things that truly matter, the decisions that could make a real difference in your life. Instead of being paralyzed by fear, observe it, respect it, and then use it as fuel. Fear doesn't mean a stop. It means you're alive, you're challenged, and you're about to grow. If you dare to move forward, comfort feels good. It's warm, safe, and familiar. But beneath its surface lies a quiet danger, stagnation. When we live only within the boundaries of comfort, we stop growing. We stop challenging ourselves. We stop reaching for anything greater than what we already have. The comfort zone is deceptive because it gives the illusion of peace, but over time, it becomes a cage that holds us back from who we are truly meant to be. Our potential, our talents, our dreams, our purpose does not exist within that small, safe space. It exists just beyond it, in the uncomfortable moments that stretch our limits and test our strength. Every great achievement, every inspiring story of success began with someone deciding that comfort wasn't enough. They traded short-term ease for long-term fulfillment. They faced uncertainty, endured failure, and took risks not because it was easy, but because staying the same was no longer an option. Comfort asks you to stay quiet when you should speak, to settle when you should strive, and to wait when you should act. But your potential is hungry for more. It wants you to explore, to stumble, to rebuild, and to evolve. It lives in discomfort, in challenge, in the unknown, because that is where transformation happens. The longer you stay comfortable, the more you delay your growth, your passion, and the life you are capable of creating. Failure can sting. It can bruise your ego, shake your confidence, and momentarily disrupt your progress. But what truly leaves a lasting scar is regret, the deep, quiet ache of knowing you never even tried. Failure is temporary. It teaches, it shapes, it gives you something to build on. But regret lingers, haunting you with thoughts of what could have been. The opportunity you ignored, the dream you postponed, the words you never said, all because you were afraid to take a risk. Over time, those missed chances pile up and they weigh heavier than any failure ever could. When you take a risk and fail, at least you walk away with experience, wisdom, and a story. But when you don't try at all, you're left only with doubt and longing. You begin to question yourself. Oh, what if I had gone for it? Oh, what if that was my moment? Regret doesn't just live in your past. It follows you into your future, reminding you of every door you were too afraid to open. Unlike failure, which strengthens you, regret quietly eats away at your courage. It steals your peace of mind. And the truth is, most people don't regret the risks they took that didn't work out. They regret the chances they didn't take when they had the time, the energy, or the youth to do it. Life is too short to spend wondering what might have happened if you had believed in yourself just a little more. It is far better to fail with your head held high than to succeed at doing nothing meaningful. Every time you take a risk, whether it ends in success or failure, you're building something far more valuable than just a result. You're building your character. Risk forces you to dig deeper, to confront your fears, to stretch your limits, and to face the unknown with courage. It's in those moments of uncertainty that you learn what you're truly capable of. When you challenge yourself to step beyond what's comfortable or predictable, you develop resilience. You become mentally tougher, emotionally stronger, and more self-aware. Risk teaches you how to stand back up after a fall, how to adapt when plans change, and how to trust your inner strength when things don't go as expected. Taking risks also boosts your confidence, not because you always win, but because you dared to try. Confidence doesn't come from playing it safe or doing what you already know how to do. It comes from proving to yourself over and over again that you have the courage to face discomfort, take action, and keep going no matter the outcome. Every time you step up and face risk, you're telling yourself, I believe in me. And with each experience, you accumulate not just skills or lessons, but a stronger belief in your own ability to handle life's challenges. That belief becomes the foundation for greater courage, better decisions, and more powerful actions in the future. Risk is not just about achieving something external. It's about transforming who you are inside, piece by piece, step by step. Behind every success story, whether in business, sports, art, or personal life, there is a moment of bold decision, a leap into the unknown, a risk taken when the outcome was anything but guaranteed. We often admire the end result, the fame, the fortune, the applause. But what we don't always see is the courage it took to begin, the uncertainty faced along the way, and the countless moments when everything could have gone wrong. Those who succeed at the highest levels are not always the smartest, the most talented, or the most experienced. More often, they are the ones who were brave enough to take a chance when others hesitated. They risked criticism, failure, rejection, and even complete loss, not because they were sure of success, but because they were driven by a purpose, a vision, or a dream worth fighting for. Think of the entrepreneurs who invested their savings into ideas that others laughed at, the artists who were rejected dozens of times before being recognized, the athletes who trained in silence, risking their bodies and time with no promise of glory. Their greatness was born not just from talent, but from risk, the willingness to act when nothing was certain. These people didn't wait for perfect timing or guaranteed outcomes. They acted when fear was present, when the path was unclear, and when failure was highly possible. It's not the absence of risk that creates success, but the ability to move through risk with persistence and belief. Their stories inspire us not because they were easy, but because they were earned through bravery. Every risk they took became a chapter in their journey, a step closer to something extraordinary. Taking risks doesn't mean throwing caution to the wind or acting without thought. Real, meaningful risk is not about gambling your future blindly. It's about making informed decisions with the understanding that there's no reward without some level of uncertainty. Calculated risk is rooted in preparation, awareness, and intentional action. It's the balance between courage and strategy, between desire and discipline. When you take a calculated risk, you evaluate your options, you consider the consequences, and then you choose to act. Not because you're certain of success, but because you believe the potential gain outweighs the potential loss. Calculated risk is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It's what allows people to pursue their passions intelligently, to build businesses with vision, and to challenge themselves with purpose. Recklessness is driven by impulse, but calculated risk is guided by clarity. It shows maturity, foresight, and self-trust. It's the understanding that playing it safe all the time isn't really safe. It's just delayed disappointment. People who succeed aren't those who never face fear or doubt. They're the ones who acknowledge risk, prepare for it, and still move forward. They know that the greatest risk is standing still, doing nothing, and waiting for life to happen. Calculated risk teaches you to take responsibility for your choices, to own your journey, and to act in alignment with your goals, even when the outcome is unknown. So, what are you waiting for? Life will never hand you a perfect moment wrapped in certainty. Every step forward will carry some level of doubt. Every dream worth chasing will demand boldness, and every meaningful change will ask you to risk comfort for purpose. You can either stay where it's safe and wonder or what if, or you can step into the unknown and discover what could be. The choice is yours. Life is a risk. Yes, but it's also your greatest opportunity. Don't let fear write your story. Take the risk. Live fully. Grow boldly. Grow boldly. And trust that even if you fall, you'll rise stronger than before.